Hi everyone, welcome to the Bourbon Obsessed New Bourbon Releases News Podcast, your commercial-free, and therefore money-free, bourbon podcast for Monday, December 8. I am Ed, and I am joined by my usual co-host, friend, and bourbon aficionado, Dean Langdon. Dean, it's been a little while since we skipped for Thanksgiving, which seems like ages ago.
It does, right?
Already for some reason. So how are you doing? Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
We had a great Thanksgiving. Just had some leftover turkey soup for lunch today, as a matter of fact. So that's probably the end of the Thanksgiving turkey.
I thought it's supposed to have been used within 3 days.
Well, it's been in the soup, so it's been fine, right? It got all boiled up, and then it's been refrigerated, so yeah, it's all good.
Did you have it with the leftover oysters as well?
I did not. No, those I can't get that tradition to happen with our family. They're not into the oysters, so. But yeah, it's been great. It's been a lot of events since then. I'm sure more for you than for me.
Yeah, there's been a lot. It seems like it's so busy. It's impossible to ever keep.
You can't
keep track.
You can't do it all.
What did we do? We did Toys for Tots.
Toys for Tots with the Lexington Bourbon Society, where they raised over $4,000.
Yeah, $4,400.
Yeah, for Toys for Tots, which is always great. Good for the kids. And there were some toys. There's some actual toys too, not just donations. So that's always a fun event.
Yeah.
Had a little shout out to Eppings, that was our host, for the good food and the good service. So.
And for a good cause.
Yeah.
What else did you do? Did you usually have some exciting blind tasting where you
I
taste things that make me jealous?
We didn't have any blind tastings in the last 2 weeks. So no, I haven't really done anything else like that. I made a trip up to New Riff just today to pick up some orders, some things like their sherry finished rye malt whiskey, which is 100% malted rye with a sherry finish. And they put out a winter whiskey that I've always enjoyed. So I got a couple bottles of that to share with friends. So
yeah, I still have. I couldn't justify buying any more, but I've already. I do like it a lot as well. And over the course of its time, I think I have like 4 or 5 bottles of it. So even though I'm sure it would be different, I'm trying.
It probably is a little bit different every year, but I mean, it's there's no. Pretty sure there's no wheat or rye in it. It's all corn and then various types of barley.
And oats,
malt,
as I recall.
And oats, exactly.
Yeah.
There's like 2 different kinds of oats in it, like a chocolate malt, and it's amazing the flavors they evoke from that.
Yeah, it's very good. I really like it. I think when I first tried it, I actually wasn't crazy about it, but then it grew on me, and then it became one of my. I really liked it, and I bought it other years to have. So, well, we can.
So
compare.
What else did you do? I'm sure you had other events in the past couple of weeks.
So we've had lots. We'll just go back a couple of days to make it. So we went to a dinner in Louisville at the restaurant Vernace. And that was with Fred No, and so he told stories and some history, and we did a tasting, and it included their actual pick of Knob Creek, which was fantastic. Actually, I may bring it to our KBI bottle share, and unless it's in Bardstown, which it very well might be. Actually, it is, so it's not coming. But
and this was Fred, not Freddie.
No, right? It's just Fred on his own.
That's awesome.
And it was great. And then we also had the Knob 21. And then the food at the restaurant is always fantastic, and a phenomenally good deal as well. I mean, you get 4 courses, you get like 3 cocktails, a welcome cocktail, a dinner cocktail, dessert cocktail, and the flight, all for a reasonable price. So
that's great.
Yeah, we've been trying to go to them. They get great people, great whiskeys.
And is that part of their? I mean, are those just on their website? How would someone find and get in tune with that?
I do not know. I believe I have a friend who lives in Louisville who we go with. There's a bunch of us that go every week, and he just tells us when it is, and we do it. I believe it winds up either on their website or on their social media sometime during the course of the week. But when I look for them ahead of time, I can never find them. Maybe you get them in the email, which I actually am signed up for, but. I haven't done seen them.
I don't think I've seen anything like that in their emails.
But if you go there any other time, there's usually a flyer hanging up on the inside of the bathroom doors telling you what the next one is. So
that's neat. Yeah,
I recommend doing it that way.
Okay, all right.
But I'll let you know when the next one is.
There you go. Right.
But I did that. And then on Friday, I wanted to go see, because it was the last weekend for the Chihuly exhibit. Yeah, the Chihuly glass. And I had seen it in September, but I didn't get to see it after dark. So I wanted to see it at night.
Right.
So we went back and did that. And it was colder than September and
and darker.
And darker.
I bet it was really
it was really beautiful. Yeah. It was I mean, given how much you like art, I'm very surprised you didn't make it to that.
I'm disgusted with myself. I mean, it's just been so busy with so many things. And I looked at going, Friday night. It's like I just couldn't fit it in. There are too many other things going on. But yeah, I'm sort of bummed that I missed that exhibit. And
yeah,
I'll get back to Maker's Mark eventually. I just know it. So
yeah.
It's so much. It's just enough off the beaten path, compared to the other places like Heaven, Hell, and Beam, and Four Roses.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you go out to these places enough times, they stop seeming far away. and honestly, it's not far from Bardstown. I mean, I'd take us 20 minutes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
give or take.
You're right, and you've got a house in Bardstown, so you've got that advantage going on there. So it's already. So when I get to Bardstown, I've already been on the road for an hour, and so it's pretty much an hour and a half, which isn't impressive, but it's
the house across the street from us is for sale.
Well,
all right, so
maybe I can sell some of my bourbon and buy it.
Better yet, bring your bourbon with you.
Okay.
So we'll do something a little different today. The folks at Larrikin were kind enough to send me the makings of the Melbourne Mule. And
all right.
I figured on this balmy 41-degree day, which is sadly one of the warmest days we've had in quite a while.
It is.
This could be something we could sip on during the show and
that
talk
sounds
about
great.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
even it looks like, I'm going to let you talk about it, but I'm really interested to learn about this can there. So
well, maybe I'll let you actually do it because you have the thing about the can.
Okay. Well, so this is made with Fat Wombat, which is it looks to me to be Australian ginger beer. It's the untamed spirit of Australia in a can, inspired by the country's first hard ginger beer. Fat Wombat delivers a bold, fresh ginger punch that's crisp, lively, and rebelliously refreshing. It's the kind of drink that knows how to behave, but never really wants to. So there you go.
And it's made by Larrikin, and it's basically it's a hard ginger beer. So this has an alcohol content of 5%, which will go marvelously with the 143.6% light whiskey. So this is not a mule for the faint of heart.
No, it is not. This is a heartwarming. I'm trying to find the right word. This is gonna energize us.
Well, it's definitely a winter mule. It's very appropriate for and the light whiskey is Larrikin's American Light Whiskey. It's a 7-year-old single barrel. And as I said, it's 143.6 proof. And for those who aren't familiar with light whiskey, it was developed by the bourbon industry back in, the 70s or 80s to combat, probably 70s, maybe 80s, I don't know.
I think 70s,
somewhere
80s,
that ballpark,
right.
but it was during vodka's heyday,
so.
Right, to be their answer to vodka. And surprisingly, a spirit that was still brown and tasted like whiskey did not win over a lot of vodka drinkers. But it's its own thing, and it's sort of having a resurgence nowadays.
Well, there's apparently still some 20, 30-year-old barrels out there, and so that's what's the age statements are getting people's attention. But a lot of people are making it again. And we don't know.
This one's
we don't think Larrikin made that, but it's made, we believe, in Kentucky.
Yeah,
we're just not sure who made it, and it's not bourbon
or distilled it. I mean, Larrikin bottled it and
right.
But and so what light whiskey is, so it's basically it's you could almost sort of think of it as how corn whiskey is to bourbon. So it can have the same mash bill as bourbon, but it often has a very high corn mash bill. Like MGP's is 99.1, I think, is what they use for most of their light whiskey.
Okay.
And this one actually says, and it's 85% corn, 15% malted barley. So typical, very high corn content, and then it has to be distilled between just above 160 and below
below 190. So that's why it's not bourbon. Or one of the reasons it's not bourbon is, it's above 160, and bourbon can't come off the still at above 160. So
Right.
And I wonder, I'm curious now what they put it into the barrel at, if they proof it down, and if so, how much. But probably not. If that's coming off at 146.
Yeah, I think they must proof them down, because most of the light whiskeys, as far as I know, and I don't know about this one, but I mean the majority of them are distilled up very close to that 190. And as you know, you can't go over 190 because then you're in neutral grain spirit.
Right.
And then it would technically be vodka, but not really.
Corn vodka, right?
And then and then the other similarity to the corn whiskey is it also can either be aged in a new barrel that has not been charred, or a used barrel, including a used charred barrel, but it cannot be aged in a new charred oak barrel. Yeah,
right.
Oak barrel. So
anyway, good information, and we're going to have to change the name of this to Whiskey Obsessed if we're not careful. But
we're happy with all types of whiskey.
We pretty much are.
Right, so we'll just whip this up, as I'm sure I will dump most of it on the table, but we will start off. Yeah. We'll get 2 ounces of the light whiskey, so this is a hearty drink.
That's going to be we'll see how our enunciation is towards the end of the podcast, folks, because if we work through these...
I'm spilling it all over. All right, so we have our 2 ounces each of the light whiskey. We will have a little bit of lime juice, if we can open it. Okay, so we have our lime juice, and it called for a ½ ounce, and to be honest, I do not know just how concentrated this is, so we're going to go on the little lighter side of the ½ ounce. And then we will make up the difference with the Fat Wombat.
It's got a beautiful murky color to it.
And then they were kind enough at Larrikin to also send us our little garnishes. So we've got these nice little dried citruses.
That's nice.
And they even gave us a stir stick. They really thought of everything. And here we go. And our ice is melted, but these clear ice balls should still be doing the job.
They are. Yeah, I can still see them in there, and it looks good.
Let's give it a little stir to try to get a little bit chill.
Right. And to meld those flavors, because there's going to be an interesting...
But technically, you don't have to stir carbonated drinks. But we're doing it to get the chill from these from these now fairly small ice balls. Alrighty. So grab yours. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Here's to Larrikin. Here's to Australian Americans. So
exactly. So we've got the Melbourne Mule, and we thank you very much, Larrikin.
That's good. Yeah.
That is good. That's nice. Pretty. Yeah, and surprisingly easy to drink.
Yes.
This, even though I gave us a fair dose of the hard ginger beer, this is still probably a significant alcohol concentration.
2 ounces of 46 proof.
Yeah.
There's a
43. All right. Excellent.
Tasty.
It is nice. Good. Very good. So, anybody who wants to enjoy a mule, this is a really tasty one.
I assume they can find that if they get on Larrikin's website and get hooked up with them. And,
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I know, this was the Fat Wombat was new, but I'm pretty sure it's a permanent edition.
Right.
So yeah.
And if you're right there to Distillery, stop by, and I'm sure they're serving them at the bar if you want one. So because they've got a tasting bar.
Yeah. Well, they have a bar. You can get cocktails, and they actually have a walk-in humidor. So if you like cigars, you can do that. And if it was actually, either if you have a good tolerance to the cold, or you want to wait till a warm day, they have a nice outdoor patio where you can enjoy your cigar.
If we knew anything about cigars, we would tell you which one goes with this, but we don't. So you're out of luck there. But we're just bourbon geeks.
Trial and error.
Right.
All right.
So we have some new releases.
We do. We have quite a few of them. So let's dive right in. All right, so time for our new releases. So the first one is Bardstown Bourbon Company's third and final 2025 Distillery Reserve Series release is Normandie Calvados Brandy Barrel Finish. And it's a blend of Indiana bourbons aged 12 and 13 years, finished for 28 months in 5 59-gallon Calvados casks from Christian Druin, then transferred to new medium toast American oak barrels for 4 months. It's offered in 375 milliliter bottles, and it's bottled at 104.2 proof. It's priced at around $100, and it was originally released on Black Friday, and then it was released again this past Wednesday. So it's not clear if they're going to do how they did with the other distillery release, the last one, where they released it every Wednesday until it was gone. So just pay attention to their socials if you're interested in getting some, or give them a call, I guess, and see if when it's going to be released again. But I assume there still should be quite a bit left, although I don't think there's a huge volume. I mean,
no, but they're 59-gallon casks, and I forget how many of them there were, but I mean, there's going to be some quantity of it. And interesting, I mean, I love the thought process behind this. How do you decide to use the 12 and 13-year-old, Indiana bourbons, which we all presume is MGP juice, and then, I get the cask and picking those specific casks to finish them in, but I'm just so impressed by how they're thinking outside the box on how to put all these components together and come up with a product. So.
Well, and it was 28 months, which is certainly a long time for it to sit in the Calvados casks, but then...
And then 4 more,
in the toasted barrel. And that was to let the flavors, mellow and meld a little bit more, and I guess maybe, cool down a little from all that time in the Calvados. But, I mean, I've already reviewed it, because having that extra week in there for Thanksgiving, we're a little behind on these, but... I thought it was delicious. I mean, very different than the first two in the series, because the Cathedral Oak and the Mizunara one are both, more highlighting the oaks itself, whereas this one is more highlighting the apple spirit. So, all right. So moving on to another distillery release, which actually seems like there's a number of those this time of year. Yes. So we go to Rabbit Hole, and they've introduced... I do not know how you pronounce this. Amrûlé, maybe?
That's how I would say it, yes.
A new limited edition distillery series release finished in custom maple brulee barrels crafted by Tonnellerie Moreau in Quebec. It's built on the Boxer Grill 4-year rye whiskey base and finished for 9 months in those barrels, and it's bottled at 104.4 proof, which is amazingly only 0.2 different than the last whiskey we just spoke of, with a price of $50. And that's also going to be for $375.
Okay.
Amrûlé became available exclusively at Rabbit Hole Distillery beginning November 25th, but these usually do last for a while, so I suspect it will.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about quantity of these, but it's based on their regular rye product, which is a good one. It's interesting they got the barrels from a cooperage in Quebec, because they had to get that before tariffs, I assume, because they've been there for a while, right? I mean, these have been finished in these barrels for some time.
Well, for 9 months, the tariffs have been around.
They have been, in fact, but they must have gotten those sooner. It's a nice cross-border gesture. Okay, I mean, maybe we can get American whiskey back on Canadian shelves with this product, although it's distillery only, and I understand that. But
well, and maple syrups. I mean, that's the Canada side, and I didn't see the specifics of how this was made, but. Some other distilleries have done this maple brulee, not using these specific Canadian barrels, but they've basically either retoasted or heated in some way the barrels with the maple, to sort of give it that brulee. Which I'm assuming from the name they did something similar to this.
Right, I would think so. Yeah,
because otherwise maple is just. I mean, I think people do that because maple is just such an intense flavor, but if you do the bruleeing to it. It mellows it out, and you get more of this just nice character.
Bring some sweetness and some mellowness to it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So and we're going to have another release later in the podcast that's not maple, but it's still syrupy, and so we'll come back to that a little bit, folks. Remember this, and we'll we want you to do a comparison and tell us the results later on.
But I would definitely like to try this because it's, as we said, I mean, the rye I suspect is going to go very well with that. More candied kind of maple,
right? And we both agree that ryes we think finish better than bourbons, and especially with a sweet woody taste like this, that would go well with a rye.
So. Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, yep.
All right, next is Ampersand, marks the debut release from Chip Tate since joining Foley Family Wines and Spirits as master distiller for innovation in January 2024. The collection features 3 small batch American whiskey blends that lean heavily into Tate's deep knowledge of barrels and their impact on aging, finishing, and flavor profiles. All 3 expressions are available in most states and online where permitted at ampersandspirits.com. So the 3 of them are, and I thought these were a pretty interesting collection.
Me too.
So Ampersand Malus, or Malus, M-A-L-U-S, which is a 92 proof blend of 51% 8-year-old American rye whiskey and 49% 8-year-old Calvados Normandy. So not finished in it, actually.
No, actually, the actual Calvados brandy.
Yeah. Made in traditional copper stills and aged in French oak. And that's got 6,000 bottles, and it's priced at around $60. Next is Ampersand Vinia, a 92 proof blend of 75% 8-year-old rye whiskey and 25% 100% corn grain spirit, aged over 9 years in XO cognac casks. Inspired by the traditions of blended Scotch, Vinia is a classic blend. Vinia is a classic blend of grape and grain, and there are 8,500 bottles in that release, and it's also priced at around $60. And the final one is Ampersand Opamus. I think these are intentionally difficult
they're Latin words, actually. They're Latin words, and so that's why neither Ed nor I took Latin in school, so we're not sure how these are properly pronounced.
Well, Karen was a major in it and taught it, so we should get her down here to tell us how to pronounce these things.
Wrong co-host this week for this one.
Yes. So Opamus or Opamus, a collector-focused 117 proof Kentucky bourbon aged 15 years and finished in Tokaji casks from Hungary's Tokaj region. And that is actually a pretty big release for what it is, 11,500 bottles, so the most of any of them, with a suggested retail price of around $150.
I thought it was interesting that their collector-focused release has that many bottles. So that's a lot. And
buy one to drink and one to save.
Keep, right? Yeah, but that's
so that cuts it down. It's really
that's right. It's only five or 6,000 instead of 11,000. But I think those are interesting. I mean, the Chip Tate, for those who don't remember, helped found Balcones in Texas, and he's got an excellent reputation and is an excellent distiller and blender. And so these are all blended products, obviously, from other producers. I would like to compare the Malus, which is a rye finished. Actually, it's not finished in Calvados. It's blended with Calvados. Castle and Key did a rye finished in a Calvados cask as one of their experimental rye series, and so it'd be fun to take those two and put them next to each other and see how they played out. I think with having the actual Calvados in it, it's going to be a lot more apple forward, right?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, so. You'll know that it's got to have a brandy character. I mean, it's almost half of what's in there is outright Calvados. So interesting. Yeah, a number of people, although not all that many, have done Calvados. Sagamore had done a Calvados, I think, twice. Nelson Greenbrier did a Calvados, which I have, which is both of those other ones are very good as well. But again, they're not actually in it; they're finished in the barrels. So
right.
Should be interesting.
And again, it's a rye, not a bourbon, right? So, our thoughts about, it's the rye that melds better or finishes better than a bourbon. So,
yeah, I'd definitely like to try these. And then, the 15-year bourbon, I mean, that's at a pretty solid proof. And the Tokaji casks they should be a complimentary flavor.
They should, yeah. So. I did see it's a 75-13-12 mash bill. And you may know off the top of your head which distillery that is, but that's in any event, a 15-year-old bourbon is getting easier to come by, but still not easy to come by.
Yeah,
and so
and that's not a bad price.
No, again, the whole $10 a year, you've got to finish here, so I think that's from that perspective, it's a bargain.
Because the finish usually bumps up the price because you have to pay for the finish.
You do, yes. And they came all the way from Hungary. Those casks did, right? So it's not an overnight trip.
I assume that's what they did because otherwise they'd have to ship all the bourbon there, which would be awkward.
It would, yes. Yeah.
right, next, we talked about these briefly because we had talked about the rye on an episode recently because we had the opportunity to actually try these. So Wilderness Trail Distillery has introduced a new lineup of 6-year-old single barrel offerings, and they're called private barrel offerings, which we'll get into later because it's sort of a confusing name. There's a wheated bourbon, a high rye bourbon, and a rye whiskey, and each is cask strength, non-chill filtered, and produced using the distillery's sweet mash process, proprietary yeast strains, and level 4 alligator char barrels. The wheated bourbon is around $70 and uses a mash bill of 64% corn, 24% wheat, and 12% malted barley, and a barrel entry proof of 110. The high rye bourbon, also $70, uses 64% corn, 24% rye, and 12% malted barley with a barrel entry proof of 110. And then the rye is $80 and features a 56% rye, 33% corn, and 11% malted barley mash bill with a barrel entry proof of 105. And they're barrel proof, so their proofs are going to vary, and they're going to be available beginning January 2026, with the wheated bourbon available for pre-order now.
Yeah, and I got the email from Wilderness Trail saying you could go ahead and pre-order that. So I think this is a great move for them. There was a comment on their website about, from Pat Heist going, he feels this is their sweet spot in age, and this is why they've chosen to make these, the private barrels. And I know you're going to explain to us that they're perhaps not private in the way we think of that. So when I think of a private barrel, I'm thinking, well, this liquor store chose that barrel, or we chose that barrel from a selection of 3 or 5 or whatever. And that's not how these are done. They're still going to be single barrels.
My wife is working on the doorbell, folks, so that is not a good combination with the dog.
Nick is an ever faithful watchdog. So,
but right. So as you were saying, I thought the name. So I actually asked the brand PR people about this name, Private Barrel Offerings, because it's very confusing to bourbon people. Private barrel offerings are, as Dean said, I mean, they're either selected by a store, selected by a group. Whereas in the case of these, they're not. They're selected by the distillery, so they're really single barrel offerings. They could leave the private barrel out. I think it's confusing people.
It's right.
Sort of sounds like a name that might have been come up more by marketing people who are not bourbon people, because bourbon people.
I was going to just shamelessly blame the parent company for that, but I won't do that. I mean, who knows where that emanated? But you're not going to see you'll see. Total Wine has barrel picks, and Kroger has, liquor stores have private barrel picks, right?
Yeah, private barrel picks, private selections.
You won't see those names on here. There's going to be the distillery choosing them. And maybe that's a way to keep, every once in a while we'll hit a bad single barrel, right? I don't care who picks it. Maybe they're trying to avoid that by picking it themselves. Not us. But we can't pick all of them ourselves. We got to delegate some of this to others, so...
But yeah, the other interesting thing about them being called this, if those bottles we have are actually the final release version of the bottle, it doesn't say that anywhere on there. So It's not going to confuse anybody for really. It's only by reading the press release that you would get confused. As far as when you see the bottle in the store, it's going to just be a 6-year single barrel, and that's that.
Right.
So, there won't be any confusion at that point.
There won't be. And we know it's going to be good because it's Wilderness Trail and it's 6 years old. So
yeah, we had them, so we know those were good. And that rye was amazing.
Really tasty, yeah. Very nice.
But they're single barrels, so your results will absolutely vary.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
All right, so moving on. So next, the brand says for this one, Archer Eland Rye Whiskey launches its flagship rye, celebrating Ohio grain, craft whiskey, and its founder and blender, Wendy Pevich. Wendy has created a brand that honors her mother's spirit and curated a love letter to the rye enthusiast through her unique blends. Arthur Eland was born from passion, the desire to celebrate and show various facets of rye grain through Wendy's lens and the Ohio agricultural terrain. Archer Eland is made from a mash bill of 95% unmalted rye and 5% malted rye in collaboration with Middle West Spirits in Columbus, Ohio. And Middle West makes you think of their dark pumpernickel rye, but the grains used in this are completely different. And so don't worry, you're not buying Middle West Pumpernickel Rye in a different brand. This is a completely different. The brand will debut with 4 straight rye expressions. Solstice, which is the flagship rye, it's age stated at 4 years, but it's a blend of 4 and 7, and it's at 104 proof and $65. Aurora, which is also age stated at 4 years, but is again a blend of 4 and 7 year barrels at 110 proof for $70. Cashmere, which is 7 years, 126 proof and $85. And the brand isn't sure if that one's going to be a limited release or not. I guess it'll depend on how well it's received. But I tried it. I thought that was really good. So I would vote that it keeps going. And Suede, which is 7 years, 126 proof, and $85. And this one is a one-time only. So the 2 permanent expressions, as we said, are blends of 4 and 7-year-old barrels designed to illustrate layers, complexity, and a well-rounded pour. So Archer Eland is available now for pre-order. May actually be for real order today because its brand launch was on this past Saturday. Right. So it's actually launched now for real. So it's available on Middle West Spirits store on Speakeasy, and you can get to that through Middle West's website when you just click on buy. And in select Ohio locations with expanded availability coming soon.
And so I don't know how many of our viewers and listeners know who Wendy Peevich is. She's formerly was the national brand ambassador for Luxco, primarily with the Penelope brand. And so she's got some serious chops. She's got her own podcast where she reviews whiskey. And so this is an interesting, I'm sure it's not a side project, but it's an interesting project. I love, the names. You could argue the names are a little kitschy, but I like them. The bottles are beautiful if you get on the website and look at them. And she's got a great reputation. Her palate has a great reputation. So I feel certain these are going to be very good and good pairing, good collab with Middle West Spirits there in Columbus, Ohio, just north of us.
Yeah, and I can say that they are good because I've tried them all, and my reviews on them will be coming soon. And the bottle is very cool. I mean, it feels like it's metal, at least the sample bottles, and I assume the full size ones will
be the same.
Are the same. They look the same, but I mean, I haven't actually seen one of those in person.
I mean, they just came out. Like you say, a couple of days before you all are seeing or hearing this, so we haven't had that chance.
But if they are, they're very unique, and that had to add a bit to the cost.
Had to, but
and her prices are reasonable, so it's being absorbed in there. But you don't see many bottles like that.
And Middle West is not just they do production for others, so this is a good indication of that.
Right.
I'm sure it's all things that they have distilled and produced. So. Nick likes it.
Yeah. Excuse the barking, folks, until the doorbell's completely in. I believe that's going to keep happening. But yeah, anyway, give these a try if you have a chance. I don't know if they're actually, you can get a flight of them at the Middle West Spirits tasting room.
Hope so.
I would hope you could. So it'd be nice to, if you're in the area,
Columbus,
or give them a call and see if it happens, because it's very cool to taste them all side by side. I mean, I like flights. It's a great way to taste things anyway. But they're all sort of related, so cool to do that. All right, so best of luck to Wendy.
Yes.
All right, next is Duck Club Bourbon marks the official collaboration between platinum-selling country star Riley Green and Morningside Brands. The brand honors the traditions of waterfowl hunting and launches with 2 expressions, a 92 proof 4-grain blend of 5 to 6 year straight bourbons called Duck Club Bourbon for an SRP of around $30, and Duck Club Bourbon High Brass, 110 proof blend of 5 to 8 year Kentucky straight bourbons for $40. Both were developed with support from the Silent Group, which is a group that, as their name says, behind the scenes helps develop brands. And distribution begins across Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas in 2025, with additional availability via direct-to-consumer shipping in 42 states and a national rollout planned for 2026.
And so if our visitors, yes, our viewers and listeners don't know.
Let me take this away.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Riley Green is a country star. He's going to be in Louisville in April 17th of 2026 in Nashville. And the next day. So those, if you want to go see him, these bourbons are equal or less than a concert T-shirt. So the concert T-shirts are $40.
I was amazed at this price.
From that perspective, folks, it's a bargain. You certainly should give it a try and see if you like what Riley is endorsing here.
Yeah, I mean, these I have not tried. I've seen a review or two online, and people have said good things. I mean, you certainly can't argue with the price. This one doesn't sound like a money grab.
No. Yeah, we have all spent $30 or $40 on bourbons we have never finished, right? So this one, I don't know. Are they supporting? I can't tell if they're supporting.
It was not completely clear. It was more like, seemed like it was honoring the tradition.
I think it might be supporting Riley and not them.
Well, I know, because I tried looking into this too, because I thought it's going to be, like Mom and Green supports the wetlands and things like that. I thought it was going to be one of the ones that had a direct link, but I did not necessarily see it. But if anybody knows about that, please let us know, and we will put that out in our next mention.
Right.
Yeah. Alrighty. So Bird Dog Select Reserve Bourbon debuts as an approachable Kentucky straight bourbon, bottled at 86 proof and priced at $22.99. Crafted in Kentucky, the bourbon aims to offer a versatile, everyday pour while extending Bird Dog's reputation beyond its award-winning flavored whiskey line. It is available across most U.S. markets and through online ordering. And that's that.
I think it's interesting, and our viewers and listeners are going to hear about another straight bourbon, if you will, from a entity that usually puts out flavored whiskeys. Interesting marketing technique to try and move away from the flavored whiskeys or moonshines and into just a regular everyday bourbon at a price point, a very affordable price point.
Yeah, and the other one is too.
So I think it's trying to get into that market, but I had to look up some of the flavors that Bird Dog had, and not things like blackberry, which are common, but espresso.
No, they have a lot of
salted
flavors.
caramel,
like 30 flavors. I mean,
peanut butter. It's like so. Anyway,
but even before this, they had. I don't know if this is being distilled by their parent company or where exactly it's coming from, but before this, they had released a 10-year, like 4 or 5 years ago, straight bourbon, Kentucky. Not sure where it came from. It was actually quite good. So I mean, they've dabbled in the unfinished for a while, but never had a main one, unflavored, but never had one be part of the main. I mean, this is a regular edition. And interestingly, I mean, another trend we're seeing with the number of these new editions is lower proofs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and part of that may be, I mean, as drinking declines, if that continues, we'll probably see a segmentation of the market where you'll have what we would call bottom shelf, based on price, not necessarily quality, and top shelf. And I'm afraid the stuff in the middle is what's going to get squeezed. There's going to be some people buying that top shelf stuff and more people buying the bottom shelf. And these folks are perhaps positioning themselves for that. I'm just spitballing, but who knows, right? It could happen that way. So.
I mean, I think it makes sense. So, I mean, first of all, if your regular whiskey drinkers are either flavored whiskey, flavored moonshine drinkers, you're not going to put them in 120 proof or 140 proof, whiskey. You're going to put them in a, 80 to 90 proof in that price range that they're used to paying. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, from that point of view.
Yeah.
And I think just as people gravitated towards the higher proof, I think a lot of people, well, there's always been way more people drinking the lower proof. It's just we don't talk about them because it's not that exciting to talk about Jim Beam White Label and Evan Williams Black. But everybody's in the low 80s range, and that's what the majority of bourbon drinkers actually drink. So you're also catering towards them, but obviously trying to pull. You're not going to convert a Beam or Evan Williams drinker overnight to a different brand. So,
but you might have somebody who tries one of your flavored whiskeys and goes, I want to try something just a regular bourbon. Maybe I want to, see what that's like. And well, you don't want them trying somebody else's product, right? You want them to try one of yours.
Yeah.
So here you go.
No, I think it makes sense. It's nice to have that. So good for them. All right. Now, next is Hurst Knoll Rye Whiskey by Rare Character. Is a blend of Kentucky straight rye barrels, each aged a minimum of 7 years and bottled at 101 proof. It's named for the rugged hillsides where rye has long thrived. The release was crafted under blender Pablo Mois and is intended as a versatile rye suitable for cocktails or sipping. It is the first readily available product from Rare Character made for cocktails, pouring, and enjoying. According their words, obviously. The suggested retail price is around $60, and it's available for pre-sale now on a number of online sources. And a bottle of this is, or at least a sample of it's supposed to be coming, so we'll get to give this a try.
Yeah, and so here's a 7-year-old rye, I think, at $60, so you're under the $10 a year.
At 101 proof.
And 101 proof, right. So, their website described it as the go-to cocktail rye, so that's fine. But, I'm interested to try it. When you get the sampling that neat, we'll be interested to see, One of the other distilleries that had a release here had information that rye has seen like double-digit growth as compared to just bourbon. And so a lot of the releases on this edition are rye products. And I find that really interesting because bourbon drinkers are experimentative people, and we want to try ryes. I know I sometimes prefer a rye to a bourbon, and it's really interesting seeing all of these different products coming out now that are ryes themselves, or rye-based, or blends, or finishes, and you're going to find growth someplace, and that's where it is.
Well, just another thing, if we're going to talk about that, people drinking less. I mean, people are taking a new look at these numbers. So, and some people are saying that, and I haven't read a lot of this stuff yet, but it makes sense that people may be drinking less by volume, but they're not drinking less by drinks. Because, for example, if you're talking about a standard drink being a 12-ounce beer or a 5-ounce glass of wine, and you're drinking 2 ounces of this, you're drinking like 3 of those.
Yeah.
So you're not. That's not less. So with wine and beer falling behind, and spirits as a category, over the last decade or so becoming significantly more popular, if you're drinking much higher proof spirits, if you diluted that up to what those drinks would be, by volume, it's not really down.
Right.
So, that's why you need statisticians involved in these things.
If we measure
people need to really look at the numbers. So, when it all pans out, I don't know. I still think alcohol's safe.
If we're measuring with our livers, it hasn't gone down, right? It's just the same. It's just higher proof and less quantity, and it's still, comes out the same at the end of the day.
So maybe we'll talk about that more next week on our
we'll talk about
Bourbon and Distillery news
right.
Because that's been another recent article that came out, which looks at the numbers differently. And
so, time for another finished bourbon maker.
Yes, and a little more barking. Ole Smoky launches Ole Smoky Tennessee Straight Bourbon, a 4-year-old whiskey now available across the U.S. After a successful distillery debut in 2023, this expression marks the brand's expansion into premium straight whiskey. Priced at $24.99, this full-bodied bourbon delivers a smooth, sippable profile, their words, of course, true to, it could be true, but it's their words, not mine, true to Tennessee tradition. This launch marks a significant milestone for Ole Smoky as the company expands its whiskey offerings beyond its flavored spirits, which include more than 25 authentic moonshines and 17 whiskey varieties. And what it didn't say in the press release is the bourbon's a 4-year-old and it's bottled at 80 proof. And interestingly, because people always mention this to me every time I don't say it, on the brand's website, the price is slightly higher. So it's not that $24.99. So
right. Still, that's a very affordable price point.
Yeah.
Lower proof. The flavor that jumped out at me when I visited the website was mango habanero.
You haven't visited Old Smoky? Who hasn't visited Old Smoky?
I did now.
I think
this made me go to their website, right? So it's like...
No, the distillery itself, I think it's like the most visited distillery in the country.
Wow.
Well, because everybody who goes to
Jack
Great
Daniels?
Smoky,
Or is it in the Smoky Mountains?
yeah, it's
Okay.
right, at the entrance to
not
one of
next
those
to-
towns, or Gatlinburg, or
Sevierville, or
yeah.
yeah.
So it's a huge attraction. People go in, and there's just gigantic table things set up. I don't know how many people sit around it. These bar things that 10, 12, and they're just doing nonstop tastings of the flavored moonshine.
Wow.
So it gets, and then if I remember correctly, there's other outposts that they have elsewhere in the state. So it gets a huge amount of visitors.
Good for them.
So-
yeah. Well, and coming back to, it's a Tennessee bourbon. I wonder if they use the Lincoln County process on it or not. But that I didn't see that anywhere as to whether that happens or not. But
I think if they use the terminology, and
you
they're
think
not,
they would, right? They're
I'm
not.
blanking on the name, but the only one that doesn't have to use it, who's that? Pritchard's.
Richards, yeah, I never would have gotten there. So
Well, no, I've been there a couple times, and yeah, so basically Pritchard's does not have to use the Lincoln County process, which is, going through the sugar maple charcoal, like Jack Daniels made famous and the whole Nearest Green story. But to be called the Tennessee whiskey, you have to go through the Lincoln County process. And some places will only use, very small layers of the charcoal. I believe what Jack Daniels uses 6 feet of charcoal. So they're all varying degrees. But Pritchard's, because they go way back, actually, their history, and they did not use the Lincoln County process, they argued that they should be grandfathered in, and the state agreed. So they are the only Tennessee whiskey that can be called Tennessee whiskey and not use the Lincoln County process. So
there you go.
There you have it.
I did not have any idea. So
that's why you're here.
that is, yes. It's a learning experience. So.
All right, moving on. So next, Jack Daniels Distillery Series 16 is a limited barrel-proof Tennessee rye whiskey finished in table syrup barrels. The whiskey begins with Jack Daniels Tennessee Rye, 78% rye, 18% corn, and 12% malted barley, matured in new charred oak before undergoing a finishing period in barrels that previously held a Southern-style table syrup. It is bottled at 111.4 proof in 375 milliliter bottles and will be available exclusively in Tennessee and at the White Rabbit Bottle Shop, which is the gift shop at Jack Daniels, beginning December 6th, which was before this, just now.
Yeah, Saturday.
The suggested retail price is around $45. And I don't know if you knew what Southern table syrup is, but I had no idea, so I had to ask my good friend ChatGPT. And it's basically sort of the same idea as like a maple syrup, except it's made with, either sugar, corn syrup, or molasses, or sorghum.
Ain't no maple in the Southern table syrup. So.
No. So it's any other sugar type
It's
thing.
sort of, it's sort of funny. It's sort of, I think it's a little bit of a poke at the maple syrup finished things. Maybe not intentionally, but I see a little bit of humor in that. And that could be the Larrikin talking. But it's interesting that they don't have Jack Daniels is not going to do a maple brulee finish, right? But a table syrup finish, that's just sort of quintessential.
Yeah, well, they're sticking to the South.
They are, exactly. And it's one of their distillery series. I think it's a neat concept, a neat spin on the whole.
And again, it's a rye being finished, which is a big trend in today, which is, I don't know, maybe they're all listening to what we said about how rye is finished better with sweeter finishes, because they do. And now we're seeing that everybody agrees.
We got to be careful. We'll get a royalty check and we won't be money free anymore.
Yeah, not holding my breath. When Jack Daniels sends us a royalty check,
we'll be off the air at that point.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yes. So, Cathead Distillery has introduced Tintype No. 3, Kenny Brown, the newest release in its blues-inspired Tintype series of limited edition Old Soul bourbons. So, just it should be clear from that, but Cathead Distillery is the one who makes the Old Soul line, which I believe is on the shelf in many states.
Yes.
This 2025 edition debuts alongside refreshed releases of Tintype 1, Captain Luke, aged 7+ years and bottled at 121.8 proof, and Tintype 2, Herman Hitson, aged 9 years and bottled at 110.1 proof. The Tintype 3 is aged 11 years and bottled uncut and unfiltered at 103.5 proof. It features a mash bill of 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. It represents a new recipe for the series. Honoring Hill Country blues icon Kenny Brown, this release showcases the effects of Mississippi's climate on long-term maturation, resulting in comforting bourbon layered with banana nut bread richness, buttery baked bread, toasted pecans, and warm baking spices. Sounds pretty good. The full Tintype series is now rolling out, with Tintype number 3 priced at $135 on Seal Box, with additional availability through Cellar.com and select stores in a number of states.
I have always wanted to write tasting notes because I don't think you have to taste the bourbon to write the tasting notes. I think it's an art to come up with how you put those various flavors together. But anyway, there's less than 30 barrels of this. That's actually quite a lot, I think. And it's interesting that they're pairing or they're re-releasing Tintypes 1 and 2. So that's sort of nice. I mean, if you're looking to acquire these, try them side by side. If you want to honor the people that they are honoring, you've got the chance to do that, and it wasn't just a one-off, right? It'll be there, and you can come back to it. So that's neat.
Well, we're not one of the states that these things are regularly released in, unfortunately. Right. And we have reported on quite a few of them over the past year, because they not the Tintypes, but they've had a number of very good-sounding limited. Right.
Yeah.
And I haven't tried any of them, so they all sound really good. It would be. Hopefully we'll get a chance to try them one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, Cathead's down in Mississippi. Again, it's a different climate. And so they released a lot of things that weren't theirs when they got started, but I think they're releasing their own things now. And so I don't know if they've got their own 11-year-old.
Yeah, I think
that's somebody else's.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they release other spirits as well that are their own. I don't know about these older whiskeys. Yeah, I mean, they've been around for a while, though. I would like to get down there someday. Then I could probably try these things. All right, next, Copperworks Distilling Company has released Copperworks Kilt Lifter whiskey, a collaboration with Pike Brewing that honors a legacy of innovation, friendship, and craft that spans more than 3 decades. The whiskey is distilled from an unhopped version of Pike's Kilt Lifter Scotch-style ale, a recipe Copperworks co-founder Jason Parker helped develop during his time as Pike's first brewer. The base wash was brewed at Pike's gravity-fed brewhouse and distilled at Copperworks, then matured more than 5 years in New American oak casks. There are 1,800 700-milliliter bottles. It's bottled at 100 proof and priced at $60.
I like the brewery distillery collaboration. I think we'll see more of those. I think those are usually work well. This is the first one, I guess, where I've seen where they actually brew it at the brewery and then ship it and distill it someplace else. So you're going to have some geographic
they're just
closeness.
A few blocks away.
Yeah, you got to have geographic closeness there. But the best part is the name. The Kilt Lifter. I mean, it's
that's the name of the beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a first date kind of thing. Yeah.
But anyway, and we had talked about Copperworks because I went there when I was in Seattle just like a month ago, and I really enjoyed everything. This didn't exist, but I enjoyed everything that I tried. So I would love to try this as well, because I like the ones that are. I mean, being a beer person originally, I think it's we see all the different finishes and stuff, and so I would be more prone to try something that is a brewery collab, than a finished, because finishes are great, but I don't know, like you, I brewed beer for years, back in the day, and so I like to see those things meld and come together. Yeah, so maybe we can try it.
Yeah, and this was an unhopped beer also, which is, I think it tells me they probably brewed it just for this.
Yeah, no, I think most of the ones, I mean, there's not that many of them, but the ones that do it do unhop. All right, so Preservation Distillery Plus Farm announces its oldest releases yet with public launch and pre-launch events. This says they were set to release their oldest bourbons to date, but that actually just happened this weekend. There were fewer than 140 bottles available of each expression. The new releases were the very old St. Nick believed 21-year-old bourbon and the Pure Antique 22-year-old bourbon. And I won't really talk about the release events because those have happened already.
Right.
But I actually went to the tasting one yesterday where we got to taste those as well as some of other Preservation's releases. They're both very good, but a little more about them. So Very Old St. Nick Believe, 21-year bourbon from the distillery's explanation is, for the third year in a row, we have created a tiny batch of very rare Kentucky bourbon worthy of the Very Old St. Nick Believe name. We found the first release of Believe to be exceptional and have worked to surpass it each holiday season. If you've ever had a pour of the previous year's releases, you won't want to miss this meticulously aged micro batch of Very Old St. Nick. And I think I do know the price and proof, but I did not know that when I wrote these. But I think it's around $1,000.
Wow.
And
these has to be at the top end of the price scale, and I assume relatively high proof. I mean, they're at that age, unless they've
I'm pretty sure
proofed them down.
I don't think any of the St. Nicks or Old St. Nicks are ever proofed down. I think they're all barrel proof and unfiltered and the whole bit.
Yeah.
And then Pure Antique 22-year bourbon builds on the success of the 20-year release that took Best Bourbon in the World at San Francisco World Spirits Competition. I think was that last year. This new 22-year-old bottling comes from 2 exceptional barrels set aside for additional aging and is the highest proof pure antique expression to date. And I believe that one's around $1,100, and it was also a fairly high proof. I do not remember right offhand, unfortunately.
Even with 140 or less bottles, there could still be some less because because that price point.
Oh yeah,
you got a limited market there, right? I mean,
it's a
I'm
high
not part
price
of it, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is awfully late in the year, and we look at how much we've already spent.
Yes, we do.
Which is not a number I'd like to repeat here, and it is very difficult for me to justify spending that much. But I've got to say, so they're both very good. So I really did like that Believe 21 year. So it's got Marcy does a very good job with the barrels, and Kyle as well, who's the general manager there, and everybody else on the team. And so it really is an excellent whiskey. It's got all those delicious aged characteristics to it. It's got some of the confectionery kind of notes, and it's got the oak, obviously, for sure, but it is not overdone. It blends very well with the other flavors. It was actually delicious. I mean, honestly, it was only the price that stopped me from really buying. I mean, $1,000's a lot of money.
Yeah. But, and I wonder, we see a lot of folks going to the 375s for their special releases, and I wonder if Preservation might consider doing something.
They do that. They've had 17 and 18-year-olds come out in this 375s. Yeah. They have another set coming out this coming
once again,
weekend.
Yeah, the people who do this for a living are so much smarter than me. So.
But I mean, I'll say that there's very good whiskey coming out of Preservation, but like some other similar distilleries, you do have to pay a premium for it.
Well, and I think they've earned that. I mean, Preservation has such a great reputation in their products. I can't think anybody's had a negative review of a Preservation product.
No, I mean, these older ones are delicious. There's no getting around it. And they're very limited. I mean, you could argue you dump 2 barrels, you get 140 bottles. What are you supposed to sell it for?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You've been sitting on it for all those years. And, the majority of these, obviously, they have not been around for 21 years, so they didn't distill them. But they've acquired many of these when they, first started. So they've been aging in their own rickhouse for 10 years, both of these. So, so they've also taken on the character of Preservation's rickhouse, for a significant amount of time, which certainly will make them unlike anything else that might have come from, this distillate. So, anyway.
So was there did Dark Arts have a release this week?
Did I skip it? Oh,
there we go. You got to give shout out to.
Oh, I am. My apologies to Macaulay, a friend of ours,
and Sarah,
who's
helping Macaulay. So there you go. Yeah. So yeah.
And Alrighty, so Dark Arts Whiskey House has released Ripple Rye 2, a straight rye whiskey originally distilled in Indiana from a mash bill of 95% rye and 5% malted barley and aged 7.5 years in American oak. The rye then undergoes a rare dual finishing process, resting in barrels that once held rich maple syrup, then layered with toasted Amburana oak staves. This combination weaves sweetness and spice into an intricate tapestry of flavor, and you know that's not my words. Macaulay is much more eloquent than I.
He is, yes.
Maple rounds the edges. Amburana adds its exotic warm cinnamon, and the rye's bold grain character shines through, according to the brand. Ripple Rye Volume 2 is bottled at 110.74 proof and priced at $109 and is available at the Dark Arts Whiskey House and online.
So, I mean, Macaulay is just an amazing blender. And again, going back to, who thinks these things up, when we talked about Bardstown Bourbon Company and the Normandie Calvados, Macaulay putting these different components together to finish, again, a rye, right? Mm-hmm. I just think it's amazing that there's people out there being creative and thinking about this stuff, and he does such a good job of doing this. So,
Macaulay's done a fantastic job, and in a relative. Yeah. I mean, you have to think back to just how not all that long he's been around, and he's made quite a name for himself.
He has, yeah,
and he's always like ahead of any of the festivals that I go to.
Right. I mean, at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, there was always a line at the Dark Arts.
A huge line.
At the Dark Arts booth. Yeah, there was. So, yeah.
So, yeah. Well,
so, kudos, Macaulay.
Yep.
And good for you for getting Sarah on board, too. She's a good addition.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he knows. So.
That's why he hired her.
That's right. All right.
Okay, well, that about does it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed this edition of the Bourbon Obsessed New Bourbon Releases News Podcast, your commercial-free, and therefore money-free, bourbon podcast. We'll be back next Monday for a Bourbon and Distillery News Podcast. Even though we're smack dab in the middle of the holiday season, nothing seems to slow down at all, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of news to talk about. Also, be sure to like and follow us at your preferred podcast provider so that you don't miss an episode. And don't forget to tell all your friends too. You can also head over to bourbonobsessed.com to check out some of our over 350 bourbon reviews and over 50 distillery write-ups. While you are there, you can also sign up to have my newsletters delivered directly to your inbox. Finally, I can also be found on Instagram at bourbon_obsessed and on Facebook at Bourbon Obsessed, and would love for you to follow me there as well. Dean, where can they find you?
People find me on Instagram at Dean of Bourbon, and I am one of those posters who does not flood your Instagram feed, so you'll get maybe one a week from me. We try to keep it Instagram light, but that's where they find me.
Alrighty. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Happy holidays.
Cheers with some neat version of the white whiskey.
Cheers.